Why do we celebrate Christmas every year? The origins will surprise you, as they are completely different from what you imagined. Let yourself be surprised. And that's why you should definitely know the answer before you celebrate Christmas again. Because what we celebrate as Christmas today is not what most people believe. What we celebrate as Christmas today is older than Christianity, older than churches, older than the Bible. Its history does not begin with a birth, but with darkness and the fear of surviving the winter. Welcome to Wonderland, your channel for answers. Here, we ask not only what, but also why. Christmas as we know it is not as old as the celebration that actually lies behind it. This has deep pagan roots connected with winter solstice, the Yule festival. Yule was already celebrated in ancient times by the ancient Germanic and Celtic peoples. They celebrated it as an important event, honoring light and the return of the sun. According to the modern calendar, it took place on the 25th of December. This is the birthday of the sun god, Sol Invictus. These traditions date back to prehistoric times, long before Christianity came into being. Winter was not a metaphor for early humans. It was reality. Cold meant danger. Darkness meant uncertainty. Short days meant hunger, disease, and death. Archaeological research shows that the winter months had the highest mortality rates over thousands of years. Protecting oneself from the cold was one of the greatest challenges of winter. The darkness, the lack of sunlight, posed dangers to life. Winter festivals were therefore not a joy, but a survival strategy. More than 35,000 years ago, humans began to structure time. Notches on bones indicate the phases of the moon and the position of the sun. Time was experienced, not measured. The decisive moment in the annual cycle was the winter solstice. It marks the shortest day and the longest night of the year. Astronomically, it occurs because the Earth's axis is tilted by about 23.5 degrees. At this point, the sun is at its lowest position of the year. Historically, this meant that darkness had reached its peak. After this, the darkness does not become any stronger. From now on, the light returns. This certainty and knowledge from the cycles was no longer left to chance. It was recorded and marked so that it could be remembered again and again. The darkness is bearable. The sun is not lost. Its light returns. As a sign of predictability, buildings from this period still stand today. Rituals and fire were used to celebrate the return of light in honor of the sun god. Stonehenge in southern England is aligned exactly with the solstice. At the summer solstice, the first rays fall into the center, whereas at the winter solstice, the axis is illuminated. It has existed for over 4,000 years, and its original function is still unclear. However, it is believed to be a measure of time, a giant calendar. Stonehenge was a structure that served to keep track of time. This made darkness predictable and light usable. Newgrange in Ireland is over 5,000 years old. It is older than Stonehenge and the pyramids in Egypt. It is a huge stone mount with a cross-shaped chamber. This was accessed through a long passageway. Everything is built without mortar, only from stone blocks. The roof has been watertight for over 5,000 years. Precise stonework was already being carried out at the time. You can still see the impressive megalithic art with spiral motifs, which indicate a deep knowledge of astronomy and cycles. Newgrange has a precise astronomical alignment. At the winter solstice, a beam of light illuminates the 19-meter-long passage to the burial chamber inside. The first light of the solstice falls into its innermost part. Maeshowe on the island Orkney in Scotland follows the same principle. It has a very large underground structure with a long passageway leading to a central chamber. This structure is also a chamber tomb and was built around 3000 BC. Here too, the entrance corridor is aligned so that the sun shines into the burial chamber on the winter solstice. These places show that people understood time, and they secured it culturally. This is how winter festivals came into being throughout Europe. Germanic Yule festivals, Celtic light celebrations, Nordic rituals. Yule is a Germanic midwinter festival. It was celebrated during the darkest time of the year to welcome the rebirth of the sun. It was dedicated to the god Odin, also known as Yulnir. According to Norse mythology, Odin roamed around with his rather wild army during the Rauchnachte, rough nights, to appease spirits with offerings, food, or even drive them away with fire. It was one of the most important festivals of the Germanic peoples, celebrated during the darkest time of the year to welcome the rebirth of the sun. The Celtic light celebrations are part of 8 extensive annual festivals. The cycles of light, darkness, and fertility are celebrated. Around the 21st of December, the Yule Fest, the winter solstice, is celebrated as the rebirth of light after the longest night of the year. Fires are lit to welcome the sun and strengthen the light. Burning herbs is intended to drive away winter during the 12 days. Offerings such as nuts and fruits were made to the goddess of fertility. Nordic rituals were celebrated like Yule to celebrate the return of the sun with offerings. All festivals have the same goal: to strengthen community when survival is uncertain and to bring light back into the darkness. With the Roman Empire, time becomes political. The Roman Empire originated in a small city, Rome. Around 750 years before the birth of Christ, early settlements arose on the hills of Rome under Etruscan influence. This was the birth of the city of Rome. The Roman Empire is divided into a monarchy from 753 to 509 BC, the Roman Republic from 509 BC to 27 BC, the Imperial period from 27 BC to 285 AD, Late Antiquity from 285 AD, and the fall of the Roman Empire in 476 AD with the deposition of the last Western Roman Emperor, Romulus Augustulus. During this period, the calendar was reformed in 46 BC under the Roman statesman, general, and author Gaius Julius Caesar. The Julian calendar, named after Julius Caesar, makes time plannable. Festivals are established. Order is maintained. It is in this context that the Saturnalia arise. Originally, it was a celebration marking the end of the farming season for the farmers in honor of the god Saturn. It was celebrated on the 23rd of December. Saturn, after whom the Saturnalia is named, was a central Roman deity. He was responsible for agriculture, farming, wealth, and time. The Romans also celebrated the 25th of December as the birthday of the sun god Sol Invictus, a festival lasting several days in December. Work comes to a halt, hierarchies are overturned, gifts are distributed. Chaos is allowed in order to maintain order. In the 3rd century, Sol Invictus gains importance, the invincible sun god. His festival, the 25th of December. As Christianity grows, it takes over this date, not by chance, but by strategy. Jesus is interpreted as the light of the world. Around the year 420, the Church sets Christ's birthday on the 25th of December. This unifies, reinterprets, and summarizes festivals. Sunlight becomes the light of Christ. Pagan rituals did not disappear. They were reinterpreted and continued to exist. In the Middle Ages, faith and popular fear coexisted. The Rauchnachte were considered a time outside of order. Ghosts, oracles, purification, today as in the past. Incense, noise, masks, everything coexists. Krampus and Perchten embody the dark to make it visible and controllable. Christmas today, what has changed? What has remained? How do we remember? Today, Christmas shines brightly, in memory of the light that was once thought lost. Streets sparkle, cities glow, fir trees shine. Fairy lights stretch across windows, houses, and squares. Presents lie ready, not just as possessions, but as signs of closeness. All this splendor is not a break with history. It is its continuation. For it is still true that darkness is countered by light. The fir tree stands for life in winter. Evergreen branches were once brought into the house to celebrate the return of light and life. Candles are reminiscent of the fires that once provided protection and community. These rituals live on today, in different countries, in different forms, loud or quiet, masked or contemplative. We will introduce you to these regional rituals which have survived centuries of time on Wonderworld. Did you know that in one of the greatest countries in the world, celebrating Christmas was strictly forbidden? Christmas is not an end. It is an ongoing story, a story that we retell every year, whose origins are different from what we thought, which is celebrated slightly differently everywhere, and there are reasons for that. You will find out in the next Wonderworld videos. It is exciting to discover new things and to feel a different depth in something long familiar.